I explained.
Sorry, I missed that one. What did he say?
Yeah, this one's perfect. Just press enter.
Oops. There we go. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, Vikas, you were saying something? Or Sunil, did you say something? I missed that one.
I think that was just a lag. I think we can get started now. Yes.
Okay.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on advertising on OTT platforms in the current scenario. So today's webinar is powered by DigiGrad. We're an edtech startup founded by SocialBeat, and we focus on having a forum for future marketers and entrepreneurs in the industry, and looking forward to training them to help them upskill in the high quality career focused courses as well. So glad to have you all here. Thank you for joining us today. So like I mentioned, today's topic on is going to be on OTT platforms, and today's speaker of the day is Mr. Gaurav from Star Network, Star TV Network, who's the Executive Vice President in Ad Sales. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining us today. Gaurav is also armed with multi-industry experience and a multi-channel experience for over 17 years in the industry now. And he specializes in building sustainable and scalable business from ground up. Over the past years, he's worn many hats, say in sales, marketing, online business strategist, and as a great leader. He's built with distribution channels and partnership from the scratch while growing the business at the same time. He's currently with the Star TV network, driving revenue across TV and digital landscape for the Star network, including Hotstar. Before I hand it over to you, I would also like to introduce Mr. Sunil Chawla, who's also joining us for today's session. Sunil is the co-founder of SocialBeat and DigiGrad, and he's one of the well-known marketers in the industry in the country right now. And yes, before we kickstart, Sunil, if you could just tell us a few words.
No, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Lavanya, and very warm welcome, Gaurav. Thank you for sharing your insights on the scaling up of the OTT platforms and the amazing work you're doing at Hotstar, specifically at Disney Hotstar. Really excited to hear from you on the platform itself. I think I've also seen a few shows with my family on Hotstar. I think Arya, recently we saw Dil Bechara, which will have made free to air for everyone, and Special Forces as well. So I think my family also looks forward to some of the shows which you'll have on Hotstar. So really excited to hear about that. I think from our perspective as well at DigiGrad, we are launching the courses for young professionals on 8th of August, which is this Saturday. So I think Lavanya, maybe you can share the link for the courses for people who are interested in those upskilling areas. But over to you, Gaurav. Look forward to hearing from you on this, and probably after 30-35 minutes, we can open it up for Q&A as well, because I'm sure a lot of people on YouTube and Facebook have questions for you. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for having me for the DigiGrad webinar. Right, Lavanya, Sunil, Vikas, you guys have been great help. And the work that you guys are doing on DigiGrad is absolutely amazing, making sure that people know what digital is all about, and because this is the future, this is where we're going, right? And starting early on that platform gives us that much of more edge to everyone. And Lavanya, thank you for that amazing introduction, right? I'll try and live up to it, right? Not sure all of that is true, but yes, we will, I'll make sure that, I try and live up to that expectation. So good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I'm just facing some issues with it's working, right? All right, so, we're going to start, I'm just going to talk a little bit about, advertising on OTT, some of the industry numbers I'm going to be sharing with you. One of the key things that we've seen, and, as human beings, as users, so we wear both hats, like Sunil said, right? He runs a digital agency, at the same time, he's a consumer. And so are we, right? We are digital marketers, we are practitioners, at the same time, we're users as well as consumers, and consume content on various platforms in one way or the other, right? Now, video has taken everything by storm, and thanks to great bandwidth available, penetration on broadband, 4G, video has really taken off in the last few years that we've seen, and so just gonna share a few numbers that I was able to pick up from some of the reports that we keep reading, right? So if you look at it, we are Indians are spending about 3.5 hours a day on their phones right now, right? And that's a crazy number to amount of hours. Like even if you look at it, you sleep for 8 hours a day, right? You're still spending 3.5 hours in the entire your waking hours on the phone. When you add to that, if you look at it, 69% of the internet users had one or more entertainment or video apps on their phone. We do continue to spend in an inordinate amount of time on on our chat, on messengers. It could be any of the messenger apps, and of course social networking. But entertainment and video is really catching up now. This also tells us that while TV is there, one of the key things that we also see is that almost 95% plus of Indian households are single TV households, which basically gives everyone, the video on in hand, gives everyone a leg up. They can watch alone, they can watch what they want and when they want. So video on demand has really made a huge amount of difference. Add to that user generated content, where there are people who are creating their own content as well, makes it even a better way for people to interact with the masses as well, right? Now, Indian broadband internet subscribers, it'll be consuming close to about 8.4 hours of online video per week, right? Which is way higher than the global average, which is 6.8 hours, right? So I don't know what is it our specific affinity, but the number is actually going up globally as well. But India, of course, we've seen a huge jump in the numbers. If you look at it, the sessions, the number of sessions that we are spending on the internet apps has grown up by 80%, right? And by far we're the highest in the world in terms of the amount of growth. So we can put it thanks to the availability on of data, thanks to the cheaper availability of data as well. It's just overwhelming the amount of video and entertainment that is being consumed by users today in India. And it's not limited to larger cities that we talk about, metros or a million plus cities. It's across the board. It's everywhere across the country. And I'm going to share some of the data that we got out of we did something called the India Watch report a few months back as Hotstar. And some of the key numbers that actually came out of that one were surprising. So we tend to build up stereotypes in our head that men do this or women do this, or this kind of demographics or internet users are primarily around the larger cities, or e-com transactions happen in larger cities. That's not really the truth. When you dig down into the data, 63% of the entertainment consumption actually comes from non-metros. And if you look at it, from a logic standpoint, that's where the larger amount of population as well is. So while the internet has and the phone penetration, the broadband penetration has gone to every nook and cranny of the country, in all major non-metros as well, there is an increased demand for entertainment, and more people are consuming, more and more data, more and more, entertainment and videos. Jumping on to the 45% of the online entertainment consumption is from women. Now, people feel that that may not be true, because 30% of the when you look at the general internet split, it's 70-30 between male and female. But actually a huge amount of online entertainment consumption is happening. It's majority still men, but a lot of women are actually consuming a lot of content. Now it could be during their commute to the work, when they're at home, or doing something else. It depends on how they look at it, but it's definitely breaking a lot of stereotypes that a lot of times some marketers or some normal consumers can tend to create in their mind. Now, this is a very interesting one. Game of Thrones. Everyone knows about Game of Thrones. It's one of the most epic series that we've seen over the last 8 years. Massive amount of fan following every time a new season dropped. Social media or the internet is full of everything from comments to memes to opinions. Even now, people go and watch more and more Game of Thrones. Disappointment, either way, whichever way you call it. But then there are 41%, more than 41% of Game of Thrones viewers also watch the Hindi family dramas. Surprise, surprise, right? Now but that's the truth, right? And that's what we saw on the Hotstar platform. That from an audience perspective, that people who were actually watching Game of Thrones also watched the family dramas, which is an eye opener for me as well. When we looked at the data. Now, in addition to that, a lot of times we've seen, in the social networking space, there is a two-way communication, but entertainment or a video viewing always was a one-way communication where you're just watching the video and you're not really engaging with the content. Now, that is something that we've changed over the last few years with watch and play around our sports, when we specifically cricket. This is actually increased the engagement by 1.5 times, right? With the users, more and more people are playing along on watch and play. We've seen in the past, be it IPL or be it other cricketing tournaments, 6 billion emojis, and it's not million, I'm talking 6 billion emojis were shared during the last IPL. And I'm not surprised. In a cricket crazy nation, right? It's, as we say, cricket is a religion in India, right? People want to engage, people want to talk, people want to chat, right? 44 million comments, right? People are talking about their favorite players, people are commenting, people want to see Dhoni do better, people want to see how a particular team does better. So all of these comments, people love to engage on the platform as well. So which has made the entire video viewing experience or a match viewing experience, it's taken to a different level, where it's not a one-way communication anymore. We're just sitting and watching a match, right? And that's the beauty of digital, and that's what digital brings on to the platform, that you can, to the table, that you can do so many things differently, and you can continue to innovate as we move forward. And you can listen to your clients, to the consumers, in terms of what do they want. Uh, Jumping on, moving a little away from the data, a few of the case studies. Now, we've specifically seen a lot of large organizations advertise on platforms like Hotstar, but it's also the smaller organizations that have actually, what we call SMEs, or mid-market companies, that have benefited from Hotstar as a platform and the audience by advertising on this. Now, this is a typical case of Melora, which is a jewelry brand, right? They wanted to, this was earlier this year, when they wanted to run a campaign for Valentine's Day. It's just an 8-day campaign, and they wanted to target male audience across the country, to make sure that they want to up the gifting game, right? Make sure that they give them access to quality jewelry, designer jewelry, which they can give to their Valentines. And just an 8-day campaign, they had 1.3 million reach across India, which was targeted. And then in addition to that, about 45,000 people expressed interest in Melora's offering. It was just a short 8-day campaign, right? So that was a big thing for Melora as well. They really liked the campaign, and they continue to, look at Hotstar as one of the good options for advertising for future campaigns. Uh, Changing a little track from an e-tailer to finance. India Bulls Dhani, right? India Bulls Dhani wanted to get, they provide loans. Their USP is faster and easier loans to the people who want to take on those loans, and they wanted to run an install campaign on Hotstar. And we leveraged the demographics that they wanted, and the audience segmentation basis their brief. And again, they got 50,000 installs across from the campaign that they ran. They had a 1.44x on return on investment, and a 5% plus install to loan ratio. So this is that's itself, it's a very big number, because the way installs to actually sessions happen, right? On an e-com is a very different thing, but when you look at the BFSI industry, and specifically people ask, taking on loans, 5%, they're very happy with the campaign that we ran with them on Hotstar. Third one, moving to a little bit of a different e-tailer, but at the same time, Wavegoof.com has a lot of nice, quirky stuff, t-shirts, other apparel, and accessories, right? and they again, came out. They had two. They had a two-pronged approach. They wanted to engage the existing customers that they had, to bring them back onto the platform and have them do transactions. At the same time, they wanted to acquire new customers on the back of the campaign. Again, we moved the needle for them. We had 1,500 plus installs that happened, uh, and at the same time, 500 plus average order value. Right? If you look at it on the left hand side, their t-shirts start at 275 rupees. Right? So we on an average. The average order value itself was higher. So wavecoop.com continues to engage with us across the platform. And, so I've just given you three brief examples of not very large. I'm not talking about very large organizations or the usual advertisers, but advertisers who who have a very clear focus on transactions, and at the same time, while Hotstar is very well known for giving the reach and the branding, but these are the kind of campaigns that also run on Hotstar and have been getting a very good ROI on their investments on the advertising part. Right. So I've just kept it very brief for everyone so that we can spend more time on questions. So, Sunil, over to you. I've wrapped it up in 15 minutes.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot, Gaurav. That was super crisp and short, but very useful case studies as well. So that's great to hear. Maybe you can stop the screen sharing as well, so your video would
Yeah,
be
that'll
seen
be
full.
nice.
And so,
Oh,
absolutely
perfect.
perfect.
Thanks.
So I think just to kickstart on the questions, I think there are already a few from the participants as well.
Okay.
But from my side, I think wanted to understand one, like some of the challenges in measurement as well, right? So, for example, like even I watch with my family. So you mentioned 45% female users, right? So is that based on the profile created, or how do you measure like who's actually watching this content?
It's primarily around the profile created. A lot of people actually log in via their Facebook IDs as well.
Right.
Right. So there also we get, and we kind of trust that data that most people, you know, most people would not be lying on their profiles there. So yeah, that's how it comes primarily from the profile itself. Yes.
Understood. And Gaurav, like how many of the users actually stream it on the television versus like watch it on the mobile? Do you have some data on that?
Majority of the people, watch it on the mobile. The connected TV universe is fairly small today, right? And I was
Right.
looking at the last FICCI report on media and entertainment for last year, 2019. There were close to about 20 million connected TVs or smart TVs in India, and out of that, about 5 odd million are connected to the internet. Now that number might have gone up a little bit, maybe another 5 to 10 million. But then a lot of those TVs are not really connected to the internet, so the majority of the people actually watch it on mobile.
So when like Chromecast and all is not really taken off in India.
Not to a certain extent, but not yet. To a very large extent, no. Majority, no.
Right. I think it
Again,
connects to Akil Krishna had a question as well. Like, is this boom in like OTT driven by like cheap data? Do you think that's one of the key drivers, or it's like the quality of content? What do you think is driving it?
see, it is there is no single answer to it, right? It's definitely the cheap data has definitely helped a lot in democratizing the overall internet access across the country. And I would not call it only for video, but for the entire internet access, right? The cheaper smartphones have also helped. You can buy a smartphone for as low as 5 to 6,000 rupees. In addition to that, people have the affinity to watch entertainment. And just coming back to your CTV part as well, if you look at it, like I said, 95% of Indian households are still single TV households,
Right.
right? So, people want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch, right? It's not linear programming is something that a lot of, especially the younger generation, doesn't really want to watch, the linear programming. And, like you said, Arya is something that you watch with the family or special ops as well. So people want to watch new content, web series, which is, and something, binge watch, of course, is the new concept, right? People like to binge watch. They don't want to wait for forever for an episode to drop.
Right. No, absolutely. I think moving to the advertiser side, Gaurav, like where have you seen brands really take off, and which kind of brands have started advertising on OTTs, and are they running like branding or performance? I think we spoke earlier as well in terms of how should they approach advertising on OTT. It would be great to hear your thoughts.
See, initially it started with the usual advertisers who used to, the larger advertisers who used to advertise on TV, and then this became another mode. But as in the last few years, like, and I'll give you an example. Till a couple of years back, we didn't have targeting options on sports, right? So
Sure.
it was much like TV. It's just that you watch it on your phone. But in the last couple of years, as we've put in targeting options on sports as well, and then we have deeper targeting options on entertainment, we are seeing a lot more smaller advertisers also come on board, who want, like, for example, somebody wants to advertise only in Mumbai or in Delhi, right, and wants to target a particular cohort of people, be, let's say, females 18 to 24 in Mumbai, and so on and so forth. So, that has OTT has kind of, because the medium is digital, they have taken on, it's not very different. The targeting options won't be very different from what you usually see on other digital platforms, right? So, however, when we look at it, I would not, uh, but at the end of the day, we should not forget that it's primarily a video platform, right? So video advertising works the best while display is there, but video advertising works the best, and at the same time, it is for branding and performance. But when we recommend, I would generally recommend that it's a combination of both. It's a great platform for building brands. It is you without spending the kind of money that you would typically do on TV, right?
Right.
TV, and then of course the option of targeting on TV doesn't really exist unless and until you're going for a particular region. There you can choose by language, right? Specifically in south of India, but North India, again, you have to take the HSM markets, right? Or you go for a Punjabi content or some Bhojpuri content, right? But it's a great platform for building content. Building the brand, and at the same time, if somebody was to ask me, do I do a branding or do I do a performance, I would say do a combination of both, right? That works best. Use the display and the carousel and the video inventory. Get your message across in form of the video, because nothing builds brands like video, and I'm a firm believer of that.
Right. No, definitely. I think we have seen video take off across, right? I think even with the Chinese ban of like TikTok and stuff, it's been quite a hangama. So,
Yeah.
definitely. So I think the other question was in terms of the conversion rates and the traction which brands have got. You shared the Melora case study.
Yeah.
So I think one of the participants wanted to know how much conversion did that result in, and do you think it's intrusive to show ads to users when they're watching a show? Like, I think that's a ongoing debate, but I think one of the participants had that question as well.
Well, there is no simple answer to that. One is, unfortunately, it's the data in terms of conversion is proprietary to the client, so we unfortunately cannot share that. The in terms of out of those 45,000, how much of that actually went into converted into actual transactions on their platform, right? And at the same time, when which tell me, which platform do you not see ads on? Right? It's a business model, right? And we do have a subscription video on demand model as well, where on the to the premium subscribers, we do not show ads except for sports. On cricket, where we show ads to them. Otherwise, on the entertainment usual content, we don't show ads. But at the same time, like for example, specials. If you're watching any of our specials, we don't really show ads today. Right. So it's a question of building a business model there. And, you see ads on Facebook, you see ads in Google, you see ads on every single platform. It's a simple question as a business model.
No, definitely. I think, from as a marketer, I would definitely believe it. Either the user has to pay for it or see ads, right? So if your subscription is 1,000 rupees a month, and a lot of the content is free as well, right? So
Yes,
someone has to obviously pay for that in the supply chain.
absolutely. Plus, our TV catch-up content is absolutely free, right?
Right.
We don't charge anybody any money for that kind of a content. We, of course, we do have the sports behind the paywall, but a lot of content, huge amount of content, our entire content library from TV or different channels is completely free.
So also wanted to understand, I think we have a couple of questions on this as well, which is what would be the minimum budget of advertising if I'm going to choose an OTT platform in my media mix?
Well, Hotstar, you can come on board as low as 25,000 on entertainment, and maybe a few lakh rupees on IPL, because specifically, and I'm talking IPL because it's announced and it's going to happen in a few weeks' time, right? And on IPL, we don't recommend budgets as low as 25,000 because they won't really make an impact. Right. So you can go up to, maybe 4 or 5 lakhs and, advertise in one match and make your presence felt at the same time. Right. But on entertainment, on normal, 25,000 is a good place to start.
And in terms of the content of these creatives, Gaurav, what is your experience? Does vernacular work better? Does it need to be like video ads, or you prefer like even static creatives? Could you share some insights there?
So we've seen clients come on board only on the back of display ads as well, right? And it works for them. But it also, because a lot of people don't have video creatives, right, or video assets, so they come on the back of display assets, and that also works for them, depending on their marketing objective and the length of the campaign, right? If it's a little bit of a longer term campaign, video is definitely recommended. And if it's like Melora again, right? They used a video ad along with a carousel, right? So that they can showcase their product range. And, this in a carousel, of course, the CTRs definitely go up.
Right, Gaurav. And what about vernacular? Have you seen that work better, like Hindi versus English creatives?
Yes, and definitely if you're reaching out to audience, like for example, if you want to advertise on Big Boss Tamil, right? We would definitely recommend a Tamil, one, from a language perspective. So we do recently in the last couple of months, we did do some influencer solutions for some clients, right? Where we had some cricketers and some other influencers come on board while it was complete lockdown. So they recorded their messages from their home, right? And one of our editors edited it at his home, right? And then we did the dubbing as well for in their regional languages, in multiple languages, wherever the client wanted. And then basis the language, and that's how we did the targeting, and it definitely works better.
Understood, Gaurav. That's very insightful. And well,
Yes. So also wanted to understand in terms of your targeting options, right? I think we were discussing how you can target specific consumer behavior as well, not just on the user, but also how they use the platform and also on their mobile phones, right? So any insights that you could share on that, specifically on the targeting options?
See, targeting is, in my mind, a lot to do with what a marketer or media planner thinks, right? Of course, there's a lot of data available on targeting, in what works and what does not work. But a lot of times when we're doing targeting, a bias comes in, right? This is what I think. Like, for example, I think iPhone users work better for me, as an example, right? Now, an iPhone user, we know the iPhone penetration in the country as a part of the market share, right? So that obviously reduces the overall cohort because there are only that many iPhones in the country, right? And obviously not every single iPhone user would have Hotstar app on their phone, right? But then there are a whole host of targeting options when people want to see. It could be somebody wants an affluence, right? Now we can look at the NCCS data and all of that. But at the end of the day, we've got to use certain proxies. We've got to use certain data in terms of what is their phone value, like connected TV can also be used as a proxy for affluence, right? If somebody's got a smart TV at home, yes, there's a high possibility that they have, they probably own a car or things like that. So, and then, when we talk further about targeting options, we can go down. Geo is a given, demographics is a particular given, and then apography works very well. We've created in the past custom cohorts for people, somebody who wants to target, or somebody, people say that I just want to target the top 10 shows on the platform, right? So that then somebody wants to say, okay, I have a launch, right? A product launch, that's where we recommend a billboard to them, right? Billboard gets you the maximum amount of reach. It's an autoplay video. All of those things kind of work in tandem. It's always, and at the same time, uh, we've seen a lot of people come and experiment. That 1 week I want to target this. It's like an A/B test, right? That I want to target this cohort, and then I want to target this cohort, and then I want to try multiple creatives to see which one works better for me. And that's where it goes.
Absolutely. No, very interesting, Gaurav. I think, just in terms of like executing campaigns itself on Hotstar, like how should professionals who are looking at it for their brand, how should they sign up? Like, should they go on a particular platform to run it, or is there like programmatic solutions like DV360 where you can run the ad campaigns? How can a person like kickstart ad campaigns on Hotstar tomorrow?
Well, you can go on to brands.hotstar.com, which is a self-serve platform. Go on, set up your campaign, give us the money, go ahead, right? Or give us a call. We'll help you set up your campaign through our managed services platform. If you have custom cohorts, we can do that. And programmatic as well, not via DV360, but via Rubicon.
Okay.
So we do that as well. So all three options available, right? Happy to, we have a team, happy to help anyone who wants to set up anything on Hotstar. And right now they're extremely busy taking calls from people who want to advertise on IPL now.
No, absolutely. And usually it takes 1 to 2 days to take a campaign live for a brand, like, or it takes longer.
No, it just takes a day. Just a day.
Right.
So you go on to the self-serve platform now and you can set up a campaign starting tomorrow.
Well, that's great.
Live sports takes a couple of days because we need to set it up. Live sports is a completely different ballgame altogether. Managing that and managing targeting there becomes, it's a tech innovation in itself.
Sure. And have you seen most of the brands use like Hotstar as a platform for new user acquisition, also in remarketing and retention, Gaurav, in terms of like bringing in third-party audiences or first-party audiences? How do you see that work on
Everything we've seen brands come here to start their campaigns, to launch the particular product. They've come here so all from awareness to consideration to actual conversion. We've seen a lot of brands do retargeting, even bring in third-party, custom audience. Phone number targeting is something which is available, so people upload their phone numbers, and because on Hotstar the authentication can happen on phone numbers as well. So our authenticated audience, they want to target a specific one. And this has even gone to a B2B level where B2B brands have come that this is my target phone number list. These are the only people I want to target. Well, lovely, why not?
Interesting. So even like exact match, like customer match is possible on Hotstar.
Yes.
That's fabulous to hear. I think the other challenge question from the audience was whether OTTs like Hotstar will affect TV advertising and take on revenue from there, or do you think it's a net increment in the ad industry, or it's going to take like a higher share of the wallet going forward?
See, it's I don't think TV, OTT in the shorter term is going to affect TV a lot, right? TV is growing, and if you look at the data again, I'll go to the last FICCI report, right? TV continues to grow, right? And TV will continue to grow again on the back of single TV households, lots of people still watching TV. Older generation still prefers TV. Like I am in our parlance, I'm a cord cutter. Right, I don't have a TV connection for the TV but for my mother who's 70 plus, right, she still prefers to watch TV. Right. But the way digital is growing in itself, it's growing at a 70% plus rate year on year. Right. As digital grows, I don't see a reason for OTT to be actually cutting into the TV budgets, but it's gonna continue to take more from the digital share of wallet.
I think this is a question I wanted to ask you with related to the recent movies being released on OTT. Do you think the future is cinema is going to be OTT, especially in India? How do you see that?
That's a very tricky one. That is a very tricky one. I think it's going to be a combination, right? There will be movies like web series, for example, right? It started off with web series where series used to come on TV. They started being made for specifically for web platforms, and hence became web series. And now we're seeing movies which are being specifically made for OTTs, right, or web platforms. That will continue, but at the same time, cinemas are not going anywhere. It's just, I think, a bump in the road because of the pandemic situation. As this, hopefully, as the situation improves, I think the cinemas are going to open up and the movies are going to go back, because it's not only about viewing, it's also about the user experience, right? People want a cinema experience as well. So it's going to be a combination of both. This one's not going anywhere. Cinema's not going anywhere, but at the same time, OTTs will continue to get their fair share as well.
Also, in terms of digital advertising itself, I think one key important factor is the fact that you can measure your performance and alter your campaigns accordingly. So, how do you think OTT advertising? What are the kind of tools or measurement do you provide, and how effective that can be in terms of for a marketer who's starting new as well?
See, of course, outside of the usual reports, right? You have the trackers. You can put in a seismic tracker. You can have, embed a pixel in your ads to track the user behavior. So from a measurement perspective, and we of course do the BLS studies for clients as well, depending on what are they looking for. We've created custom solutions for some advertisers, which is a combination of online and offline as well, right? Depending on their business model and how they want to do it, right? So and we've seen that most of the clients have been fairly happy with the measurement or the ROI specifically that they've gotten out of the measurement.
Sure. We also have a user asking if regional marketing, do you see a difference in terms of the cost per acquisition compared to the usual?
Unfortunately, I don't have that data handy, but specifically when I look at the advertiser profile in the southern markets, when we look at regional markets, or when I look at maybe in West Bengal or in Maharashtra in Marathi, right? These markets behave very differently from each other. Like, for example, Tamil Nadu is a very high-end, high retail-oriented market where advertisers are while their distribution or their retail presence is only in Tamil Nadu or areas or in Chennai, right? But they still advertise quite a lot, which is not a lot of behavior that we see in the northern or the Hindi speaking markets, in the HSM markets, right? So, however, it also reduces the overall scale in those markets, because the overall audience set that you're reaching out to is fairly small. But what this helps is it cuts down on wastage. Right. So, most of these advertisers rely a lot on print as well, right? Print actually wastes a lot of money, and the shelf life is fairly small and doesn't really, impact overall. But then a lot of the older economy retailers continue to, dabble in digital, but their mainstay still stays print, right? But we've seen that moving a little bit. We're seeing a lot of print users move to digital, and as they realize the the value of video, again, my first 3 months of this organization, I actually crisscrossed the country and did a lot of research. I met over 60 plus smaller advertisers and agencies who were in print or out of home and all of that. Now, a few things that were very interesting that came out is that, and this is actually came from one of the owners of a business. He says, in my mind, and he doesn't care about the GRPs. He doesn't know what an CPM is, of course, right? He says, in my mind, people watch what my family watches or what my peer group watches, right? So, chalta wo hai. Right. So there's a lot of bias that comes in there as well because of the peer group pressure or, and I'm sure as an agency, if you're dealing with older economy clients, they like to see their ad. Right. And if they're not a part of the audience set, right, they will not end up seeing their ad. And unless, 10 people come and tell them that, oh, I saw your ad and so, it didn't run. right? So I've seen a lot of our agency partners take screenshots to send to the clients, right? I've seen some of my team members also do that. But then, that's how our market is. It has extremities as well. But then a lot of people are waking up. I went and met up with a retailer with only one retail outlet in Lucknow, in old Lucknow area. I had to walk kind of a kilometer there because the car wouldn't go, right? It was that crowded a market. And they had an agency in Gurgaon who was doing digital marketing for them, right? So I'm saying that, as the newer generation, as the younger generation comes into play, the game is changing and it's ever evolving. So that's a very long answer.
Very valid point. I think we have also seen a large spike in advertisers coming to OTT. Gaurav, and I think that's why it was great to have you come and share your learnings at this point. I think to that point, what percentage of TV advertisers today, in your estimate, are on OTT platforms advertising? Like, what is that percentage, and how fast is this market growing in terms of TV advertisers coming online?
Well, we're seeing more and more. It's a question of how much are we reaching out to, right? And at the same time, how many, a lot of them are dependent on agencies and education. As more and more agencies continue to educate their clients, we're seeing more and more clients coming on board, right? We are acquiring clients at a fairly fast pace as compared to what we did earlier, right? And like I give you examples of not so the usual clients who came onto board, right? 3 examples. Now I have like hundreds of these clients, right, who have come on board, who we did not, who are either a digital first, or some of them were TV first clients.
Sure. So do you see as Hotstar, do you see your competition with like other OTTs or with like YouTube or with TV, or a lot of these new Chinese clone apps as well are there, right? Like Trell, which have come on board, like Bolo India. So who do you count as your like competitor set to some extent?
Yeah, so my competition ideally would just be the ignorance that you can't advertise on an OTT, or OTT is expensive, right? And I'll tell you, the other thing is, while we talk about digital, obviously Google and Facebook, come to mind, right? Now, the OTT as a space itself is it's a different space. It's a different vertical altogether. It's not search, right? And it's not social either, right? And one of the biggest advantages of having a Hotstar kind of an OTT is the brand safe environment, right? Because there is no user generated content, and you're fairly sure that you're 100% that your ad would not be seen on any content where you want your ad to be seen. So irrespective of that's one of the biggest things, and a lot of brands are very sensitive about it, on where my ad is seen. Like, for example, we've taken a very conscious call that we will never have ads on kids content, right? Because and we don't target below, at the younger age as well. Somebody says that I want to target 14-year-olds. We do not do that either. So, that's one of the bigger advantages of advertising on the OTT platforms. The other thing is that if you look at the behavior, right, as they say, the best place to bury a body is the second page of Google, right? So when you're doing a search, you generally click on the first few links and be done with it, and or the ad there as well. Look at the user behavior on a social, be it an Instagram or a Facebook, right? You have 2 minutes free, you have 3 minutes, you're waiting for a friend, you're just waiting for something, and you open up on your phone, you watch, you scroll very quickly, you see a few things and shut it and forget it, right? But if you look at if you have 3 minutes, you will never open an OTT app, right? You will want to at least finish one episode. That's why we see that our average watch time per user is actually 43 minutes. So the engagement of the user on a consumer on an OTT platform is always far higher than a social or a search kind of an environment, right? Of course, on search there is the intent, but then on OTT the engagement level is very different.
No, definitely, Gaurav. I think COVID has impacted many industries negatively, right? But I think OTT is one of those which has benefited positively from COVID and the lockdowns. But is there something which still gives you sleepless nights or keeps your team awake apart from the education part? Like I do hear you on educating clients, but apart from that, is there anything else which is challenging to you and your team?
It's of course the education part is definitely number one on my agenda. At the same time, it's the amount of innovation that we have to bring on board. While we are educating, we are innovating, but at the same time, and how do I make sure that I disseminate that information as fast and at mass scale as I can to the people who want to really build a brand. Like, in the yesteryears, from an agency or a brand building perspective, we used to say that, TV is the only thing that builds brands, right? And radio used to be a reminder media, right? But all of those things are gone out of the window now, right? I've seen people building brands on the back of radio as well, just persistence there over the years, right? But then it's much faster. Now OTT again brings that thing. It's basically democratizing video advertising, right? You don't have to shell out lakhs and crores on TV, or at the same time, on newspaper ads where you want to take a jacket ad for lakhs, and then by evening nobody even remembers it, right? So all of those things, and then you can the ability to experiment on digital, and that so I would say that OTT combines the best of both worlds from a TV as well as a digital perspective, bringing in that kind of audience engagement and the targeting options, and the ability to click and transact. So all of those things is something that and how do we continue to add things? Like I said, on IPL we added watch and play, we added a two-way communication on IPL. How do we continue to innovate? What are the new ad formats that we bring on to the audience or the advertisers that will help them get a better ROI? All of those things is, and one of the other things is that we've got to balance the user experience
Sure, no,
from our
absolutely.
consumer perspective, right?
I think very, very interesting points, Gaurav. I think obviously a lot of direct-to-consumer brands also coming in today and innovating to reach out to consumers. From Hotstar's perspective, in terms of innovation, are you looking at, like, for example, AR, VR? I think we were seeing some tools where on the video, if a user pauses, for example, he can see what are the products available and go and buy it on an e-commerce website, right? Like, so you're seeing a Hotstar video with Arya and you see Sushmita Sen carrying a bag, and you can click on the bag and go to e-commerce. Are you looking at those kind of innovations for your platform?
See, our product team is working on a lot of things, and almost every single thing is something that I can't share here, right?
Sure.
But the point is that our product team is probably one of the most talented teams in the country or in the world, I would say, uh, that is continuously innovating and bringing in new things as we move forward. In the words of our chief product officer, is that the way people are going to consume content is not even invented yet, right? In the few years, and that's what his vision is in terms of how do we move forward. So there will be a lot of new things that we will bring onto the table. Like we've seen a lot of companies, specifically when we talk about live sports, we've seen a lot of companies struggle with streaming of live sports, but we've kind of mastered it at our end, and that's a lot of tech innovation that has gone in from our product and engineering teams, to the level that we don't only have targeting, we have specific regional feeds now,
Sure.
right? So if you want to watch a Malayalam feed, or you want to watch a Tamil feed, you can do that as well. And a lot of this innovation also happens because we are a part of the larger Star Group, which has perfected, cricket broadcasting or sports broadcasting in the past.
Right. And do you want to touch a little bit upon the Disney collaboration as well, Gaurav? Like, how do you see that adding value to the partnership?
It's just a small correction there, Sunil. It's not a Disney collaboration. We are a Disney company.
Right.
Right. So Disney. So that's why it became Disney Plus Hotstar, because we launched Disney Plus on the
Sure.
Hotstar platform earlier during the year, right? But that has brought a lot of new content onto the table. Like I've seen a lot of social media thing on The Mandalorian, for example, right? There was a Disney Plus launched in the US a few months before it launched in India. But at the same time, we've been able to bring a lot of content which wasn't really available in India on any platform earlier, which is the Disney original content, and then the iconic Disney princesses, right? Which is from Frozen to The Lion King. All of this content was not available anywhere. Including, I think there are over 30 plus original Disney Plus content on the platform today. There is a lot of and like for example, which is the last Endgame, Avengers Endgame, right? Avengers Endgame is on the platform. The entire MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Sure.
So when we bring out that kind of content, again, you know, we have dubbed that content in regional languages, including Hindi plus Tamil plus Telugu and all. So we are basically taking that international content, and a lot of that content is reaching out to the masses now, which wasn't really available to everyone in the past, right? And obviously it strengthens our entire content library, in a big way. And every time I log into Hotstar, which is like every day, right, I see some or the other new content that has been added, and it's beautiful. It's just a dilemma in terms of what to watch and what not to watch.
Right. No, thanks for correcting me on the Disney ownership versus collaboration. I think, and I was not 100% sure since I used the word collaboration, but I think it's a global brand which all of us have loved the movies and the content over the years, right? And I think having that in India at the price points which Hotstar delivers them to users, it's unbelievable. Actually, I think it's similar to what Jio did to telecom. I think Hotstar is doing that in the content space, making it affordable for everyone to enjoy quality content.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. And Disney is the most loved brand globally, right? From children to, and that's what it signifies as well, right? The family and the values that we bring onto the table, and that's why we're also cognizant in terms of what ads we take on the platform and what kind of content do we play on the platform as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of our clients have also advertised on Hotstar over the last couple of years. And I think we know also, right, like a lot of, without taking names like other OTTs, also there is like non-brand safe content as well. So I think Hotstar
Yeah.
definitely stands out in that aspect as well, Gaurav. Have you seen, you mentioned the dubbing part for these programs, right? Like for the movies and stuff. Have you seen that take off more than the English and original language content, or are you seeing the original language still hold sway?
See, there is an audience set for everything, right? There is an audience set that wants to watch only in English, right? And then there is the audience set that, like for example, we've seen some movies that have been dubbed in languages like we see on TV. A lot of South Indian language movies, be it Telugu movies or Kannada movies or Tamil movies, are dubbed in Hindi, right? And they have that audience. It's a question of a personal choice, but we've seen definitely seen an uptake rate, and it gives us a larger audience set as well to reach out to. If we limit it to English, of course, it's always a more limited set on people who want to watch English content only.
Right? No, absolutely. I think, Lavanya, any final questions? I think we are.
Yeah, I had one on the content and creativity bit as well. So while the content on OTT is going to be the key thing the user focuses on, especially during sports events like IPL, how do you think a first-time marketer, especially, can deliver his or her message of a commercial message effectively? Any best practices that you recommend?
One is creatives have to be nice and catchy. Nothing works better than a nice creative, right? And one of the things that we have on Hotstar is that our ads are non-skippable, right? So one, if you want to deliver the message right across to the right set of audience, one is please have a nice creative, right? It always works specifically in the video space, right? The second thing is know your audience set. Who are you targeting? And third is have the right measurement in place, right? Three things I would highly recommend: have the right measurement at our end and at your back end as well. so that you can, very clearly measure the impact of each ads, each of the creatives that you're running. And please test, test, test. I cannot stress enough on this. And you guys are digital marketers, the importance of A/B testing, right? I keep telling my own team, my marketing team, that, run as many A/B tests as you can, right? Let's continue to challenge the status quo at all times, right? So that's Power at 11.
Absolutely. Sunil, any more
think,
questions?
one final question, Gaurav, before we sign out, would be on the IPL, which is coming up, right? I think, how are you seeing the response to that, and any tips to the professionals out there? How should they look at leveraging IPL for their brands? I think that would be
So IPL is a festival, right? It's a marketing, advertising extravaganza. This time it's falling in the same time as the Indian festival season. That's another added, I don't know, advantage, I would say, right? We are kind of overwhelmed there. I would say that if you want to launch a product, this is the time. You want to make an impact, this is the time, right? You want, if male audience is what you're after, this is the time, right? The only thing is that we are already running out of inventory. We went to market this week. Okay, we're already running out of inventory because that's how the bookings are happening. One of the reasons is because we already had a lot of bookings before, in March, April, when the decision to postpone IPL happened, right? So, if and this is something, and it's the first cricketing event that's happening after 6 months. Right, 6 months of no live sports, or specifically no live cricket has happened.
I think any event, right? Nothing has happened. 5 months you've been at home.
Yeah, of course. Outside of India, we've seen, EPL happening, or Bundesliga happening, right? But then nothing, makes us click like cricket in India, right? And IPL, of course, is the biggest celebration of cricket in India. So if this is something that interests you, I would urge you to move very quickly, reach out to us, and we'll give you the solution before we run out of inventory, right? It's digital. People say there is unlimited inventory. IPL doesn't hold true. We sell out 100% of our inventory, right? So that's one. And the other thing is that, if IPL is one place where you can actually make a huge amount of impact and reach a very large audience in a very short span of time and very effectively. And again, it goes there that, given that our ads are not skippable, right? Your video views are equal to the overall number, right? It's not going to be a CPM versus a CPCV kind of a thing, right? Almost every view is a completed view. So you can make a lot of impact. So IPL, yes. And that's what actually keeping us busy right now. It's because the number of media plans that we're churning out every day is just insane.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. That was a really insightful session. I'm sure it would have benefited all of us. And thank you for joining in your busy times. I understand with IPL keeping you super busy now. So yes, thank you all of you for joining us today. I hope you had a lot of insights from this session as well. Please do follow us and subscribe to us for more webinars in the future that we are trying to improve. And also, please do help us by improving by filling the feedback form which you share. We also have a digital marketing master program next, starting this Saturday. So please, you can check out the link, and if you're interested, you can register for that as well. Thank you once again, Gaurav, for really appreciate the time
Thanks
you've
a lot,
taken.
Gaurav. We're all
And thank
excited
you, Sunil, as well.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
We're all excited to leverage on Hotstar. I think with IPL
Yeah.
coming as well, never a better time to check out the platform for those who haven't been there. So thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Sunil.